Hello everyone, welcome to part 2 of IAM. This is our agenda. We'll see a little bit more on permissions as to how a policy is evaluated in IAM. Then we'll see roles. We'll have a demo on roles. We'll see identity federation, STS, and finally the pricing of IAM. In this section, we'll see what logic is used to evaluate a policy document in IAM. Suppose a user is trying to perform some action on an AWS resource. Let's say the user is trying to launch an EC2 instance. IAM policy evaluation logic will check all permission policies and conclude whether the user can actually launch an EC2 instance or not. By default, IAM denies all requests. That's why when we created those two users, admin1 and user1, they could not do anything, not even see the running EC2 instances in the same account. When a user tries to do some action on a resource, IAM comes with the preconceived notion that that user is not allowed to do anything. Then it checks if the users have policies attached to them. There can be one or multiple statements attached within a single policy. IAM will check if there is an explicit deny, which means it will check if effect has deny value in it for the action the user is trying to perform. If yes, then deny that action. If no, it will check whether that action is allowed by the effect key in the policy. If allow is mentioned, then the action will be allowed to perform or else it will be denied. So if your policy is not right, chances of denial is much more. I have talked about default deny and explicit deny. What is the difference? First of all, explicit deny is when you put a deny in the effect key of a policy document. Default denies can be overwritten by explicit allows. We have already seen this because by default every action is denied for a user. But the moment we attach a permission with allow on a certain action, that action is allowed. But if you create a statement with an explicit deny on a certain action, no matter how many allows you put in, that action will never be allowed for that user. Let's say this using a demo. This is the admin1 user which we have been using so far. This user has two policies attached. I'll remove these two policies. So currently admin1 does not have any policies or permission attached. So default deny will come into action and admin1 user should not be able to do anything. In this browser, I'm logging in using admin1 user. If I go to EC2 console and for that matter any console, I should not be allowed to do anything. So as usual, admin1 user is not allowed to do anything. Here default deny is playing the role. What I'll do now, I'll create a policy with described star action, that is listing everything, to all the resources and attach that policy to this admin1 user. This is the policy which I have created and this is the first statement. I'm allowing EC2 describe star action on all resources in this policy. The name of the policy is AWS Foundation View All. I'm attaching this policy to admin1 user. So the default deny has been overridden by an explicit allow here. The allow is to view all EC2 resources. Click on refresh and now the admin1 user can see anything. Let me go ahead and add an explicit deny there in the same policy. I have added one more permission document wherein I'm denying this describe star action. In the previous permission document, there's an allow statement which is allowing describe star action. And this is the explicit deny which I was talking about. This is the permission document for explicit deny. Let us go ahead and create this policy or modify this policy. In this console, let me do a refresh again. The same admin user cannot do anything. I'm getting multiple errors this time because of the explicit deny. I cannot see volume information, I cannot see instance information. Even though I have an explicit allow, the explicit deny has overwritten that and it is not allowing to do anything by this admin user. This is how explicit deny works. No matter how many allows you have, if you have an explicit deny for a particular action, that action will never be allowed. Few pointers on IAM policies. Permissions are given by attaching policies to users or groups. By default, all IAM users do not get any permission. We know what AWS account root credential is. Root account is the account which we use to register and create our AWS credentials. Root account has access to do everything in its own account. No additional policies are needed to attach to root account. The policies which you have seen so far would be attached to IAM users and groups only. IAM roles. Roles are typically used to provide temporary permission to users and groups. Role is similar to an user or group which has permissions policies attached to it. Roles are temporary access given to anyone who needs to perform the specific task mentioned in the role. Suppose she is a database admin user who cannot perform any action on EC2 instances, but can perform all operations in RDS instances. He is an EC2 admin who can perform all operations on EC2 instances, but cannot do anything on RDS instances. Say for some reason, this user needs to perform actions on EC2 instances, and this user needs to perform actions on RDS instances. You can create a role which has permission attached to perform actions on EC2 instances. Then this user can assume this role, and now she can perform all actions on EC2 instances mentioned in the role temporarily. There's one more role which has access to perform some actions on the RDS instances. When this role is assumed by this user, he can temporarily perform all those actions attached to this role on RDS instances. If you see, I have intentionally put roles on top of the current permissions which these users have. That is because permissions attached to the users are taken away till the time role is getting used. Once the roles are detached from users, they'll get back their original permission. Roles are not that straightforward. Every role has two different types of policies or permissions attached. This is our role. The first policy is the permission policy, which we have been talking about so far. All policies that we have worked on or talked about till now were permission policies. One additional policy called trust policy is also attached to a role. Trust policy is needed only for roles. It tells which user or service the role trusts. Trust policy contains only three keys at the least: effect, action, and principal. Action contains sts:"assume role, so that the principal mentioned here can assume this role to perform temporary action on resources as said earlier. Roles can be used by IAM users in the same account, IAM users in different account, another AWS service, or an external user. External user can be any user by an external ID provider compatible with SAML like LDAP, Microsoft Active Directory, or OpenID Connect like Google, Facebook, or an Amazon retail account. Let's see how cross-account roles work. This is my account and I have multiple AWS resources in this account. For example, EC2 instances, S3 buckets, DynamoDB tables, etc. Let's use EC2 instances only for this example. I create a role in this account. Permission has been attached to this role which can launch EC2 instances. There is one more account, and an IAM user in this account wants to perform actions on EC2 instances in my account. Let's say that IAM user is user 1. In the trust policy of this role, I mentioned that the root account of account 2 can assume this role. What account 2 will have to do is to create a policy document which will make user 1 to assume this role. As account 1 has trusted the root user of account 2 with the role, it is up to account 2 whom it wants to assume the role to. It has chosen user 1, so user 1 can perform all actions mentioned in the permission policy of the role created by account 1. Once that is done, user 1 in account 2 can perform actions on the EC2 instances in account 1. This is how cross-account roles work.